Well, the immoral imagination is a term coined by the 18th century British statesman Edmund Burke to denote specifically the integrative role, literally the integrity of the imagination. The imagination's been gifted to humans by God to perceive the divinely infused meaning and purpose embedded into the cosmos, and then provide that point of integration where our logical, our ethical, and our aesthetic experiences can be integrated into a harmonious whole. The tradition that Burke is getting at goes all the way back to the Greeks, where they made a distinction when it came to knowledge between scientia and theoria. Scientia involved problem solving, like modern day science, but theoria took knowledge deeper. Theoria took the sum total of all the different diversities that scientia would examine and saw them all in relation to this harmonious whole, particularly in the Christian tradition, as a vision of Christ in whom all things are made new. And so the Christian tradition puts a tremendous amount of emphasis on the imagination, particularly in study, the spiritual discipline of study. I think it was the Catholic theologian Saint-Ange who called study a prayer to the truth. What we have to remember is that in the modern age, knowledge is rooted in doubt. You have to prove to me something that it's worth my time before I'm going to give it the time of day. Otherwise, just simply don't bother me. Classical Christian knowledge is very different. Classical Christian knowledge is rooted in awe and wonder, not doubt. G.K. Chesterton picked this up perfectly in his Ethics of Elfland, a text our students read. He noted that a Christian conception of knowledge is one that is rooted in the fact that we were created to be astounded and astonished. This creates a fundamentally different orientation to the world. When the teacher puts forward to the student a book or a piece of music or a subject, in the modern age, the teacher feels that he or she is under the obligation to try to sell the student on this subject or on this book or on this piece of music. The teacher has to show the student it's worth their time because they're rooted in doubt. And we don't have knowledge until you've dispelled that doubt. But in the classical Christian knowledge, the orientation of the world is very different. The teacher is able to produce or present to the student a subject, a piece of music, or a book, not as something that is worth their time, but as something of which we're not worthy. That's a fundamentally different orientation that awakens awe and wonder. This is the moral imagination. We need to constantly exhort our students, expect to be awed. Expect to be astonished by what you encounter in this class. Yes, it's often hard and tedious work, but treasure hunting always is. You were created to be astonished.